Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Mets Get It On. Please go like and subscribe where you can. Show some love on my YouTube channel. Give me the 5 stars on Spotify. I need the help. I want to build this thing. Let's do it together and let's go Mets. And it is a beautiful time to be a fan of this team. The Mets take 2 out of 3 from the Oakland A's, and we've now won 4 series in a row to move to 10-5 on the season. We are the only team in the major leagues that doesn't have 2 straight losses at one point in the entirety of the year, and it is a nice time to be a fan of the team from Flushing. So, let's talk about this A's series. Sutter Health Park. The A's have moved to Sacramento. Their plan is to move to Vegas within the next few years. But Sutter Health Park, I was expecting some negative reviews from folks. I was expecting things to be really makeshift, and there were some elements of that. But I thought it was a really cool environment. You got fans sitting on the lawn, getting a really up close and personal experience with players. I think it's a lot better than being in that empty Coliseum in Oakland with no fans. It kind of felt like spring training games that counted, if that makes any sense. But I thought it was a really cool environment. It's always fun to see a more full park. Fans bringing their families and all sitting out on blankets and just enjoying some ball, man. So definitely a lot more cool than I expected it to be, and I probably think of it very highly because the Mets were able to take that 2 out of 3 in the series. Game 1, you got the Midnight Mets. It's a 10 p.m. Eastern starting time. A lot of folks might have missed this one, been taking some Z's by the point you got past the 3rd or 4th inning. But Griffin Canning gets the start for the Mets. He was a little bit shaky in this one, giving up 4 earned runs over 5 1/3 innings pitched, which moved his ERA up to 4.2 on the season. But that's pretty solid for the role that we brought him in to be that 5th starter. From there, you got Reed Garrett, Ryan Stanek, and AJ Minter coming in for 2 2/3 scoreless innings. That part of the pen has been awesome. Pretty much everyone not named Edwin Diaz has been awesome, which we'll get to. But the offense woke up in a big way in Sacramento in this one. 2nd inning, Brandon Nimmo rips a 400-foot homer to center field. Luis Torrens then comes up. He rips an RBI double himself. But the guy who really went off is the guy who's continued to go off. The polar bear, Pete Alonso, who went absolutely nuts this game. Rips an RBI double in the 5th inning. A sac fly in the 6th inning. And then in the 8th inning, this is when you know Pete's going really well. He rips that line drive home run to left. So monster game for Pete. Seeing his batting average up around 350 is wild. The OPS is one of the highest in the major leagues at a 1-1 dot. The guy's going crazy, and it is so fun to watch his approach, being patient, laying off the outside pitch, and just returning to that polar bear form. We're so happy for you, my man. But after 8, the Mets are up 8-4 in this one, and then Edwin Diaz comes in. And it's kind of more of the same from what we've seen from Edwin so far this year, and actually significantly worse. Immediately, Diaz walks Lawrence Butler. Then, after striking out Brent Rooker, he walks Tyler Soderstrom on a wild pitch, so the batter advances. Next batter, Shea Langoliers, actually, fun fact, named after Shea Stadium, drives in 2 on an RBI double. Edwin is falling apart. We are worried. Oh my goodness, what happened to our freaking massive lead here? JJ Bleday comes up. It's not done, folks. He hits a sac fly to left. Scores Soderstrom. The lead is cut to 7-6. Holy hell, man. This guy is blowing up and imploding, and he's just looked shaky all year. But finally, he gets Jacob Wilson to ground out to end the game, and the Mets win 7-6. Whew. Game 2. David Peterson gets to start for the Mets. This is an afternoon game, so it's nice, that us fans on the East Coast can watch the entirety, and it's not causing fights with your girlfriend because you're staying up too late. Peterson gets his start. He looked solid. He went 6 innings pitched and gave up 2 earned runs. The Mets are facing JT Ginn. Now, us real diehard junkie fans remember this is one of the pieces that they traded away in 2022 to get Chris Bassett back. And man, JT Ginn looked sharp. He was pitching with a purpose. He wanted to stick it to his old squad. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched, only gave up 1 run in the process. Unfortunately, the story of this one, our bats went dead with only 5 hits all game. Eventually, Mason Miller throws 104 miles an hour in the save, and the A's win this one 3-1. Even up the series. Now, I think the game we were all most excited about coming into this one was our ghost fork slinging king, Kodai Senga, facing off against Luis Severino, a man who was an absolute anchor for our squad, the man who held up the OMG sign. Luis, we love you, brother. We truly do. But, somebody's got to take advantage. Somebody's got to win this series. We'll get into him more shortly, but Senga looked amazing in this start. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs, only 79 pitches total. This brings his ERA down to 1.06 on the season. Senga is back, baby. Luis Severino, it was actually kind of emotional. He made some really powerful comments this week. He got that massive 3-year, I believe something around $76 million contract. He came out to the media and said he wanted to stay with the Mets and would have stayed for 2 years and $40 million, effectively costing himself, $35 million. But it just shows how much he loved this team and how much this organization is good for developing these arms. Sevy was pitching with a chip on his shoulder. This one meant a little bit more to him, but he looked awesome. He struck out 6 over 5 2/3 innings pitched, only gave up 1 run. His fastball was routinely around 98 miles an hour, hit 99, I believe. So he was, this one meant a little bit more to him. And it was cool, man. I'll always root for Sevy, but luckily Senga was just a tiny bit sharper. Really low-scoring affair after 5 scoreless innings. Low-scoring affair early on. After 5 scoreless innings, Luis Torrens brings out the offense with an RBI single to right. I think that just woke all the boys up, and the bats came alive. Francisco Lindor from there rips an RBI double. Mark Vientos, RBI walk. Take it any way you can get it. Later on, an RBI double. Luis Torrens rips another RBI double. And even Brett Beatty gets in on the action, ripping an RBI triple at over 103 miles an hour off the bat. Mets take easy control after that onslaught. Win this one 8-0 and take the series in Sacramento. So, we got to get into our yeah baby. And that yeah baby is going to be our ghost fork slinging angel, Kodai Senga, who has moved to 2-1 on the year with a 1.06 ERA. His ghost fork looks nasty. He's shaken off some of his first inning woes. He seems to love pitching in the warm weather, and this is super, super encouraging. It leads me to believe that we may have that 2023 Senga, who was right in the midst of an NL Cy Young Award race. So that would be really, really special if we can see this from him all year. He likes it when it's warm, and it's starting to get warmer, and it should be an awesome season for him. I got to give our second yeah baby to Luis Torrens. Where would we be without this guy taking over as the starter with Francisco Alvarez out, and he is batting .333 on the season. He went 3 for 4 yesterday. Unbelievable defense as always, throwing out runners left and right. Where would we be without this guy? So yeah baby for Luis Torrens. Now on the behave front, the man who needs to behave is Edwin Diaz. With that brutal outing, his ERA is now up to 7.94 with a .286 batting average against. His velocity is down around 94, 95. You remember back in, a couple years back when he was healthy, when he had his nasty season in 22, he was throwing at 101 miles an hour. So that's a sizable difference. Diaz, you got to be careful, or one of these guys, Reed Garrett, Ryan Stanek, or even Max Kranick, could potentially take over that role in the long run. Our bullpen is nasty, and we don't have an opportunity to mess around. So hopefully Edwin can figure things out. I know I'm probably overreacting 15 games into the season, but Edwin, behave, baby. But yeah, our upcoming series, after enjoying some of that warmth in Sacramento, we are headed back to frigid weather, facing off against the Minnesota Twins. The Twins are 5-11 and struggling. We're going to have temps in the 40s. Could be really good for some of these pitching matchups. Hopefully, we can figure out a way to get our bats hot again, even in the cold. But game one, we got Clay Holmes, who struck out 10 in his last start and really had his best outing of the year despite those 4 earned runs. He is facing off against Joe Ryan, who is the ace of the Twins staff. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I really think things are clicking for Clay despite those 4 earned runs, and I am really excited to see what he can bring in game one of this series. Game two, the big drip. Tyler McGill, who's 2-1 with a .63 ERA, facing off against Bailey Ober, who is 0-1 with a 7.11. Not talking about the food chain, ERA. Now, Ober is 6'9". This guy's a freaking monster, but he only throws at 90 to 92 miles an hour. He's been struggling. McGill has cemented his spot in the rotation at this point, and I think this is one that we should take. Finally, we've got Griffin Canning against David Festa. That one is a real toss in the air. I don't have too much on David Festa for you folks. This will be his first start of the year. We'll see what to expect from him. I honestly, truly have no idea, but got to take advantage of a team in Minnesota that's struggling at 5-11. The goal, as always, is to take 2 out of 3 and continue to win series and chip away. Now, some news across the Mets. From a minor league perspective, Matt Allen, this incredible story, the man who hadn't pitched since 2019, has another start, goes 3 2/3 innings with no runs and 3 strikeouts. I am so excited about this guy. He has just been grinding through, and it would be such an incredible story if he stays healthy and eventually, if he even makes one start in the bigs. What an awesome story that is. So really loving watching Matt Allen. And Brandon Sproat, our number one prospect, some would say, over Jet Williams, definitely our number one pitching prospect. He got a start on Saturday, retired 13 of 17 batters, gave up 1 run over 4 1/3 innings pitched. He may get his shot next Friday against the St. Louis Cardinals to make his major league debut. Could be him, could be Jose Urena, but the Mets are trying to give Senga as much time as possible so he gets that 6 days of rest. We'll see who fills in. But the most exciting thing I heard today, Ronnie Mauricio is making his first rehab start tomorrow for Port St. Lucie. His first ever plate appearance in the bigs. He ripped a 117-mile-an-hour exit velocity double. He hits the ball as hard as anyone. He's insanely toolsy. He's a huge guy. He's an absolute freak. The upside is insane. He's got a little Ellie De La Cruz in him. He's flashy. He's going to make some of the coolest plays you'll ever watch, and he's going to smack the ball all over the place. It may not always be getting on base a ton or hitting for the highest average, but he's going to leave you with an absolute highlight reel if you watch him for long enough. So really pumped that Ronnie Mauricio is back making rehab starts. And finally, I think this is the series for Juan Soto to get hot, man. Us Mets fans sort of think he's struggling a bit, but, here he is. He's got a 794 OPS, a 409 on base percentage. His average exit velocity is 92.6 miles an hour, which puts him at the 86th percentile in baseball. He's got a super low strikeout rate and a high walk rate. So it's really crazy seeing a guy who's got good numbers while we think he is really struggling. That just shows the caliber of player that he is. So Soto, let's get hot this series and let's get things going and turn them one way and keep it going for the rest of the season for the Metsies. Anyways, beautiful episode. The Mets are 10-5, and there's only one thing I can sign off with, as always. Mets, get it on!